Yes, my handicapped savior. Fuck. Alright, Aiden, you're not gonna want to see this. You better pray to God he brought some tentacles, boy. So Arc Complex. If you beat this level, then you are officially halfway through the entire campaign. I'd also say if you made it this far, then you're pretty much over the hump, as the hardest levels in the game are ultimately the first 3 or 4. And then everything after that is a matter of either not paying attention or getting too comfortable as you're starting to get more in the groove of how you normally play the game. You know, with your maxed out Praetor suit and your entire weapon arsenal. But if you're new to the series, these are level by level guides on how to complete Ultra, Nightmare, and Doometernal. I'm doing them in order, so if you want to progress past Arc Complex, then feel free to do so. But if you're struggling on, let's say, Cultist base or Doom Hunter base, Hell on Earth, Exultia, all the levels have been covered up to Arc Complex. I try to tackle every single fight, every single encounter, demon spawns, ideal positions you want to be in anticipation of the secondary waves, how I approach every fight, the reasoning behind them, and I just try to make every level as easy as possible for you guys. If you want, for simplicity, the whole playlist is in the top right hand corner of your screen. Just hit that little eye icon. But keeping up with the typical theme and bringing everyone up to speed, my 3 runes are Equipment Fiend, Blood Fueled, and Air Control. I picked them in that order. They seem to be the best for my personal playstyle for my Ultra Nightmare runs. Like always, I also recommend you pay attention to the challenge screens on every one of these levels for free Praetor suit points, and if you do all 3, an extra Sentinel battery to unlock those Sentinel crystals in the Fortress of Doom, some extra weapon mods, some Praetor suit points, you know, general stuff that'll make your run a whole lot easier. Speaking of Praetor suit points, my fundamentals are completely maxed out. I invest in firing a frag grenade twice, the cooldown for the frag grenade, and then the cooldown for the ice grenade. I am someone that severely underutilizes ice bombs, and I accept the fact that I like making things difficult on myself. Alright, so jumping into the mission, similar to Super Gore Nest, Arc Complex essentially just throws you straight into it, with a big room of demons to immediately clear out. The way I like to go about this is as soon as the elevator slams down and the doors slide open, there's going to be an imp immediately in front of you, and then behind him, there's going to be another imp and a soldier behind that. What I like to do is meat hook the imp that's in the center, or even the soldier, and try to get close enough to hit both of them with the same shotgun blast. At the peak of my meat hook, I like to jump up, fire off a grenade to get rid of that soldier and any other fodder demon, and then immediately shift focus to the prowler that's going to be spawning in the back of this hallway. He always spawns in the exact same spot. You can hit him in the face with a ballista, you can hit him with a meat hook super shotgun, you can take care of him with the lock-on mod. Right now, just like I said with Super Gore Nest, how you deal with fights ultimately is up to you, since there's so many different ways to approach all of these demons. But after dealing with that prowler, you're going to immediately turn down this hallway. In this instance, what I like to do is kind of come forward and then dash backwards to bait more fodder demons around that red barrel, fire off a grenade for a little crowd control, as well as removing that environmental hazard that red barrel presents. If you make it past a certain distance down this hallway, there's going to be a Macubus that bursts through the glass on the right hand side. I recommend prioritizing him as soon as possible, and then after you take care of that Macubus, depending on how many fodder demon is still alive, there's going to be a whiplash that comes into this room from this halified barrier. So what I recommend, if you're not really keeping track of what's going on and you're just killing things like crazy, even as you're prioritizing that Macubus, kind of keep an eye on that doorway, as you don't want to have that whiplash enter the room and catch you off guard. It really looks like the whiplash wouldn't even spawn until the majority of the fodder demon is taken care of, but still, better safe than sorry. Just keep an eye out for that doorway whenever the whiplash enters. Instant lock on mod, you can hit him with an ice bomb, do whatever you want, but don't forget to utilize the entire room, stay on the move, flame belch as much as possible, and don't be afraid to utilize frag grenades. Another tip in case you guys missed the cultist base guide, as you notice right here, there's a bunch of armor on the ground. There's about a 15 to 20 second delay before the armor disappears, so even if you're maxed out, feel free to flame belch a demon, kill it, and he'll drop all this armor that you can go back and pick up. But in the next room, once the halified barrier disappears, there's going to be some more fodder demon and an Hell Knight that spawns directly in front of you. You can lock on mod, you can do meat hook, a ballista combination to take care of him, hit him with an ice bomb. He's not that big of a challenge if you're prepared for him. Just be aware that in this same section, you're going to be dealing with a Pinky and a Prowler. So sometimes that Pinky likes to turn the corner and rush you. In my case, he ended up being behind me, so just keep an eye out for him. He's a guaranteed spawn. There's going to be a Prowler inside the story, just deal with him, and then as soon as all the demons are taken care of in this situation, when you walk into the convenience store, this little metal door is going to be bursted open by a Revenant. Just ballista super shotgun. One of the challenges is to blow off 4 of the Revenant's cannons, so you can actually deal with that right now if you wanted to, or just take him out immediately. I also want to point out there's health in the convenience store, and back towards the area where the Mancubus first spawns in, there's an extra chainsaw pickup that you can go back and snag if you want to take out one of these heavies relatively quickly with a maxed out chainsaw chainsaw pickup. But after dealing with that revenant, if you continue forward about halfway through this hallway, there's going to be a bunch of imps that fall down from the ceiling. Now what I like to do is hit them with the flame belch, fire off a grenade, and then let them explode in armor. As right after this, there's going to be a Hell Knight that spawns on your right hand side from the little glass doors here, and there's going to be a Macubus that jumps up on the left from the floor below. So if you're not quick enough, you could potentially be dealing with two heavy demons at the exact same time. I'd say in an ideal world to try and prioritize that Hell Knight and take him out before the Mancubis even comes into play. You can deal with him quickly with a lock-on mod burst, you can ice bomb him, hit him with the burst from the rocket launcher, super shotgun, ballista, whatever you need to do to take him out as quickly as possible. Or in the gameplay's case specifically right here, what I did was I used the Mancubis as a way to position myself behind both of them, ice bomb the two of them, dealt with the Hell Knight, and then took care of the Macubis. Or you could do it vice versa. I personally feel like the Hell Knight is a little bit of a bigger threat as far as my movement goes, as the pressure is much stronger and the Mancubis isn't that much of a threat from a distance. You can always use those hallways in the rooms we came from as a means of retreating, repositioning, and gathering your thoughts and taking your time. The main thing here is never really rushing into combat or putting yourself in a dangerous position where you can't recover from and ending your Ultra Nightmare run prematurely. And don't forget, in chainsaw animations or when you're performing a glory kill, use that as an opportunity to capitalize on situational awareness. If you're in a sticky situation or demons are closing in on you, you can use glory kills or chainsaws as a means to survey your environment and dash in a general direction free of any enemies. You always want to have some type of escape route, and that moment of breathing room is your way to capitalize on that. But after dealing with that Macubus and the Hell Knight, you're going to drop down in the lower level, and in this arena there's going to be a bunch of fodder demon fighting each other. They are not your priority, just completely ignore them. Maybe if you're extremely close to an imp, hit him with a flame belch, kill him so that way he can drop armor. But the main thing you want to do is as soon as you drop down, turn your attention to this halified barrier, as within a couple seconds of hitting the floor there's going to be two whiplashes that enter the arena. The best case scenario is as soon as they enter, if they're close enough to each other, try and hit them both with an ice bomb and lock on both of them with the lock-on mod. Instant way of getting rid of them. Or if you don't have an ice bomb, just lock onto one of them immediately. Try to hit the second one with a grenade to falter him, and then that'll give you a second to lock onto that one. You'll notice in this gameplay, neither one of them decided to actually enter the arena, so I just used this one spot to kind of dash around their attacks and just lock onto them from a distance. That works too. There's also a fuel canister in this arena if you're someone that's looking out for that stuff, so you can pick that up on your way out before you head into the next fight. The next room with a bunch of enemies you're going to come across is a room filled with a bunch of fodder demon and a carcass. In this gameplay, what I did was I made my way to the back of the room, ice bombed all of them, and then as soon as that one shielded soldier got out of being frozen, I basically overheated his shield for the explosion and acquiring the Praetor suit point that came from that challenge. That challenge being you gotta kill 6 demons with an overloaded shield caused by a plasma rifle. But this room is pretty straightforward. It's nothing but fodder demon and of course that carcass. I like to prioritize that carcass, getting rid of that annoyance that shield can generate. You can also follow my example, ice bomb all of them, try to get that Praetor suit point out of the way. But again, it's ideal to never put yourself in a position that'll prematurely end your run for something that is optional. You notice that I got red screen here. I was pretty confident in continuing the run, but if you don't like playing things so close to the chest, maybe hit them all with the ice bomb and just fire off some grenades, some sticky bombs, or maybe even the destroyer blade would work. I can't speak all that much on destroyer blade since I don't play with the ballista mods and I just stick to the basic gun, but theoretically I'd imagine it worked. After this room, you're going to drop down into this next hole. You can turn left, go around the corner. There's going to be some extra rocket launcher ammunition, I believe. There's heavy cannon rounds there as well. Then you're going to double back, head down these stairs, and enter into this hallway. Be careful because as soon as you turn that corner, there's normally a zombie that if he catches you off guard can instantly fuck you up. So what I like to do is as I'm heading down the stairs, kind of move off to the right here, back up, and straight across from you all the way at the back end, there's going to be a carcass and there's going to be a prowler slowly making his way over towards you. You also notice that there's a fuel canister in the center of the room that you can pick up if you already have two chainsaws saved up, which you should if you ended up picking that last one up from the last arena. Now in this area, what I like to do is grenade for a little crowd control, meat hook the prowler, pull myself forward, deal with him. There's going to be another prowler spawning. You can back up to try and clear yourself of any of the fodder demon that's kind of crowding the area. Deal with the prowler one-on-one towards the back, and then after that, take care of the carcass. Once the prowler and carcass is taken care of, as you're making your way down the hallway, when you make it to the end, there's going to be a Mancubis that spawns. I just immediately chainsaw him just to get him out of the fight. Once you take care of him, there's going to be a bunch of imps. I basically just stood here and took care of them with the detonation mod from the rocket launcher, but just be aware that there's a handful of imps that you're going to be dealing with right after that Mancubis. I just want to point out, during the gameplay you noticed that I was actually using air control to my advantage, kind of circling around in the air to dodge projectiles and using the shield mod as a means to keep down a sustained level of fire while also protecting myself. The shield mod in campaign doesn't work like it does in battle mode. In battle mode it only protects you from frontal attacks, but in the campaign it's a bubble. It protects you from all attacks in a full 360. So if you find yourself in a position where things are getting out of hand very quickly, if you're quick enough, you can pull up the chain gun in your weapon wheel, switch to shield mod, and activate it to readjust, reposition, and re-strategize if need be. Do not sleep on the shield mod. It becomes especially handy in congested areas. Anyways, after dealing with that Mancubis and the handful of imps that spawn, you're going to be brought into this room with a bunch of fodder demon and a revenant that bursts in through the door. What I like to do is use these fodder demon as a nice armor boost. I'll hit them with the flame belch, fire off a grenade, and then focus all my attention on that revenant. Don't forget, one of the challenges of this mission is to knock off 4 cannons off of revenants, and here's another prime opportunity to knock off 2. After taking care of this revenant, you're going to enter this next big arena fight, which consists right off the bat of a revenant, a Macubus, and a bunch of fodder demon. I recommend prioritizing the revenant, staying in the air as much as you possibly can, and then focusing all your attention on the Macubus. Utilize your meat hook and take advantage of the jump pad that's in the center of the arena. Verticality is your best friend, and any opportunity you have to stay off the floor, utilize it. Now the next wave isn't going to initiate until you kill enough fodder demons, so if you want, maybe prioritize the revenant, the Macubus, and then wait for an ice grenade to charge or a frag grenade to charge, and then take care of some more fodder demon, so that way when the next wave spawns, which is going to consist of a carcass and a Macubus, you have some extra equipment to deal with them. It's also important to note that this carcass and the Macubus always spawn in the exact same spot, which is back here. Now it doesn't matter which one you kill first, but as soon as the Macubus or the carcass dies, there's going to be a cacodemon that spawns to the left of them or straight across right here. If it's far enough, then continue to focus your fire on the carcass. If he's within attacking distance, you're definitely going to want to focus on the cacodemon, as you don't want him dashing on you. But once the carcass and the cacodemon is taken care of, there's going to be a dread knight and a revenant that spawns at the exact same time. The dread knight spawns up here, which I recommend taking care of first, while the revenant spawns on the guards gate right here. Whatever you do, just don't be afraid to take advantage of this big open area. You can always retreat over to the area kind of where the cacodemon spawn. There's health and some extra shotgun shells over there. There's also some health you can pick up on this turned over bus right next to where the Mancubus and carcass spawns, so don't be afraid to scavenge around. After this small cutscene, there's going to be a pinky that bursts through this door here. You're going to go ahead and blood punch him. Fuck it, or hit him with an ice bomb and super shotgun his tail. Don't forget to pay attention to whether if you have blood punch or not. That's important. There's an extra chainsaw pickups you can grab right here, and if you have a maxed out chainsaw, you can already take care of this arachnotron that spawns at the top of the stairs. Now if you don't go past the pillar, you can actually deal with the revenant and all these fodder demon without having to worry about that hell knight or the cyber Mancubus, as going past that pillar is going to trigger those to spawn. So I'd recommend just moving kind of back and forth, deal with the arachnotron and deal with the revenant, and then take care of all this fodder demon and hoard up some extra armor pools. Don't forget, whenever you drop armor, or the demons drop armor, it's going to stay on the ground for about 15 to 20 seconds. So that gives you a nice window of opportunity to come back and pick some armor up if you end up taking damage against that cyber Macubus or that hell knight. Next, when you're ready, you can take care of the cyber Macubus that's going to spawn on the bottom level and the hell knight that's going to spawn up top. You can do one of two things here. You can immediately prioritize the cyber Macubus. If you're quick enough, you can actually kill it before the hell knight jumps down, or you can fire at the cyber Macubus, chipping away at him, and then once the hell knight starts pressuring you, kind of backpedaling him and separating him from that Macubus, taking them out one by one. In the following room, you're going to have an arachnotron that spawns in the middle, a bunch of fodder demon, and there's going to be a prowler or two running around. I just recommend prioritizing that arachnotron, getting rid of it as quickly as possible, and wherever you can, hit as many demons in one single flame belch for those armor pools, and just constantly stay on the move. Whatever you do, like always, do not stop moving. This area is pretty easy. There's some extra health around here. There's a weapon mod you can pick up. There's a sentinel battery you can pick up across from the auto map station, and just take your time. Pacing is important. After clearing out this room of all the demons, 3 imps are going to jump through this window. Just take care of them with the grenade. You're going to jump across. There's going to be a revenant that pops out of the floor and a bunch of fodder demon. Just take care of the revenant ASAP. Watch out for that red barrel that's next to the staircase. Maybe hit it with a shot or even a grenade to try and get rid of it, as well as take care of any fodder demon near it. You can also continue to move on or stay back and deal with this carcass, which I decided to do for some reason. Right here, you're going to continue forward. I like to bypass this entire area, which you can do, but as soon as you come around this spot, instead of continuing forward, go off to the left, go up through the staircase, and there's going to be a sentinel crystal that you should pick up. After this, you're going to enter this next room with a bunch of imps and other fodder demon and a revenant. Just take care of the revenant. If you want, hit all these demons with a flame belch grenade for all the armor. If not, then just deal with the revenant and you can continue on to the next area. Right now, we're making our way over to the crash plane, although be aware, on your way over there, there's going to be a hell knight and some fodder demon that you're going to come across in this hallway. And before leaving this hallway, there's going to be another Praetor suit point right behind you. You're going to want to snag that. Before going across, I also recommend, if you're someone that likes to play with a precision bolt or ballista, have one of those two weapons as your quick swapping method if you're on controller, as soon as you pop up in the plane on the other side, there's going to be a Macubus and some fodder demon. When you're dealing with this Macubus, what I like to do is prioritize the cannon on his left hand first. The reason being is not only are you going to falter him from that weak point hit, but you're also going to get rid of that environmental hazard that red barrel there presents. So it's just kind of a go-to I always do whenever I deal with this Macubus. Immediately after the airplane, you're going to come across another Macubus, which I hit with the ballista, taking care of his weak point, and then I use him as a means to kind of get an elevated position with the meat hook, fire off a grenade, and hit him a couple more times with the ballista super shotgun. As soon as you take care of this Mancubus, you're going to want to head down your right. There's going to be a carcass that spawns in the back right hand corner. You can eliminate him before he even becomes a threat. And then right now, it's all about taking out some fodder demon. Again, like usual, hit him with a flame belch, a grenade to drop some armor pools, because the next wave of enemies are going to spawn in this back right hand corner again, although this wave consists of an arachnotron and a dread knight. The dread knight pops on the left hand side from the wall. The arachnotron is just spawned right where the carcass was. For the sake of being safe, I just recommend keeping an eye on this back wall here, so that way you're not caught off guard by that dread knight or an arachnotron just firing at you from a distance. Now in this situation, depending on where I am, who seems to be a bigger threat to me is going to determine who I prioritize more. I try to, in this gameplay right here, separate the dread knight from the arachnotron. The dread knight is more likely to chase you down into the airplane, so don't be afraid to take the airplane to your advantage. Separate those two if need be. And then, after the Dread Knight's taken care of, go and focus on the Arachnotron. Or if you're quick enough and you're already ready for them, you can actually push them, freeze bomb both of them at the same time, and then take care of them that way. But in either scenario, even with the Arachnotron and the Dread Knight taken care of, don't be afraid to take advantage of the airplane. If you need some extra space, backing up and retreating that way is always a good choice. As a matter of fact, retreating back into the airplane and having all the demons funnel towards you seems to be the best thing to do, at least for me personally. But after you take care of the Arachnotron, even with the Dread Knight still alive, there's going to be prowlers that spawn in. They're not too hard, just be aware that it's about 2 to 4. And then after you take care of them, the Dread Knight and some fodder demon, the next area is going to open up, revealing to you a revenant and some imps that jump out of the wall. I'm gonna fast forward through these smaller encounters so that way we can focus more on the bigger fights. Just know, as soon as you deal with this revenant and these imps, there's gonna be a pinky at the top of the next flight of stairs, another revenant, and some fodder demon. At the top of the next flight of stairs, there's gonna be some more fodder demon and a hell knight. And then at the very top, right before you finish off this building, there's gonna be another hell knight and another wave of fodder demon. After this, you're gonna jump across into this next building. There's gonna be a carcass immediately on your left, some fodder demon on your right, and a Macubus straight up the middle. If you want, you can completely skip this, although I wouldn't entirely suggest doing that, as that would require you to squeeze pretty close to that Mancubus, risking you dying, unless you do pull up that shield mod on the chain gun. Then I guess you could be protected from that. But it is your call, and there is a cue ball there that you can take advantage to get rid of that Mancubus very quickly. Now it's time for the most exciting part of the whole level, the dinner rush. Now I'm going to tell you guys basically how I like to deal with this fight. When you hit the elevator button, you're going to be dropped down facing the center of the room. If you move to your left, kind of close to the wall, it's going to trigger this Mancubus to spawn. What I like to do is ice bomb him, meat hook him, and then throw myself behind him. That way I'm not taking any damage and I'm safe from all the enemies in the center of the room. I move over here to the left. There's always going to be this pinky that breaks through this wall here, so be prepared for him. And then what you can do is try and bait more demons to kind of funnel in through that doorway. Go through the teleporter, and then you'll pop up behind them. And then now I just kind of work my way around the room, prioritizing all the heavy demons, lighting the fodder demon demons on fire whenever I can, and then dropping a grenade in situations where multiple fodder demons are lit on fire and they'll all die to drop armor pickups. There's also a lot of health pickups in the kitchen. There's a third chainsaw pickup if you need it in the kitchen, and then I just kind of work my way around the room. Take advantage of the portals because it's not like battle mode. There's no cooldown. You can basically keep jumping from one to the other if you wanted to, really. But I keep working around the room, prioritizing all the heavy demons. Eventually there's going to be a Pinky and then an Arachnotron that spawns. After the Arachnotron spawns, there's going to be a wave of Whiplashes. When the Whiplashes spawn, this is when I take the Berserk power up, and then I try and prioritize all of the Whiplashes. I try to take out 3, and then I start moving over into Prowlers, because Prowlers do begin to start spawning. But once I take out 3 to 4 Whiplashes, I start pretty much going ape shit on anything's closest to me. But the main point is you want to get rid of all the Prowlers and all the Whiplashes. For me, Whiplashes are a bigger threat, so I focus on them more. After you take out a handful of them, there's going to be a Macubus that spawns back here in the kitchen. I like to prioritize him. Around the same time this Macubus spawns, there's going to be a Cyber Macubus that spawns right here. So I deal with that Macubus, focus on the Cyber Macubus, and then I just continue to chip away at the Fodder Demon. Ultimately, this is the last of the excitement. There's a bunch of Prowlers that are still remaining. Right here in the gameplay, you'll notice that I'm just utilizing teleporters completely by accident. But it is a tool that you can use. Just don't forget, you constantly want to stay on the move. Try to be elusive, take advantage of the Flame Belch, ice bombs, frag grenades. It's really not as hard as it seems if you just move in a circle. And don't forget, whenever you are in the middle of a chainsaw animation or a glory kill animation, you're invulnerable. Take that opportunity for situational awareness and move in a direction free of any demons. Or, as I talked about earlier, you can always pull up the chain gun, bring out the shield mod, and that gives you a little extra breathing room as well. But when the doors open in this next area, I recommend just skip all this. You don't have to fight any of this. Meet hook a closest demon and just fling yourself forward, jump into this portal, initiate the cutscene, and you're done for half the mission. And you're gonna come across a bunch of small encounters, but I'm gonna skip them and get to this part right here. As soon as you come out of this elevator, there's gonna be this floor that caves in front of you, a bunch of fodder demon, and then a Pinky that emerges out of a small room. Yet again, an entire area that you can just skip altogether, but I like to stay here and more or less fight, as that fuel canister that is in the room that this Pinky emerges from is gonna come in handy, because in the next big room, we're gonna be dealing with all kinds of insane demon combinations, and if you can eliminate a heavy demon from the fight as quickly as possible, it's just going to make the fight a whole lot easier. So I recommend picking up this fuel canister if you need it. And in my personal experience, I have horrible luck, so I sit here and fight this Pinky head on anyways, because chances are I'm going to get stuck somewhere and this bastard is going to hit me from behind. There's also another Pinky that turns the corner as you're making your way down the hallway, so don't get caught off guard from that one. And now it's time for the next exciting part of the mission, probably even more so than the dinner rush. When you enter this arena, there's going to be a chainsaw pickup on your right hand side. I recommend grabbing that, and then what I like to do is immediately hit that jump pad on the left hand side, come up from around top, hit the Mancubis with the rocket launcher lock on mod, and then finish him off with anything you want, honestly, and then chainsaw an imp like a moron. After this, I prioritize the Revenant, and then after the Revenant, there's going to be a Carcass that spawns up here, and then there's going to be a Hell Knight that sometimes spawns over on the left, or in my case right here on the right. It looked like in this gameplay they actually spawned at the exact same time, but either way, you're going to be dealing with 2 Hell Knights back to back, and then eventually there's going to be some Pinkies, Whiplashes, and Arachnotron, and I think another Revenant. So just stay cool, stay on the move. I actually never use the Overdrive power-up, which is kind of a bad decision. If you need it, feel free to grab it. I like to save it towards the ending half of a fight, but normally I end up finishing the fight before I ever need to pick it up. I actually just use it on the Cyber Mancubus at the very end. But anyways, instead of going through all the demon spawns, I'm going to tell you guys my mentality and how I go about fights like this. And I keep hammering home staying in the air, because you're a harder target, you have so much fluidity in your movement, especially if you're using the air controlled rune, and you know where every demon is, so you have an escape route. You know what is a good direction to move in if you're taking too much heavy fire, which if that's ever the case, it's a good idea to isolate a fodder demon, hit him with the meat hook or a flame belch, and then grenade him for that nice cache of armor. But when I'm in a fight with multiple heavy demons, the way that I think about these fights are, what heavy demons are in this fight with me, what heavy demons are the closest ones to me, and what's the most efficient way to deal with them. So like specifically in this fight, there's Whiplashes and Arachnotrons. The Whiplashes are closer to me, but obviously the Arachnotrons are a little bit more of a bigger threat because they have the ability to hit me while I'm in the air. And I know that if I land on an elevated platform or a platform that the Whiplashes are themselves not on, then I have a window of opportunity to focus my attack on the Arachnotrons, and then once the Whiplashes get on the platform that I'm on, I have the ability to dash out of the way or move to an entirely different platform, end up in the air, or do whatever I need to do to make sure that they can't touch me. Whiplashes and Hell Knights are big threats when you're on the ground with them, but when you're in the air, they're virtually useless, and it's ideal to know things like that, to prioritize demons depending on your movement, where they are in their arenas, and if they're able to touch you from where they're at, because obviously an Arachnotron behind a wall can't really touch me in the air from a distance, and I might have a window of opportunity to take care of Whiplashes. So in other words, in layman's terms, when the Hell Knight and Whiplashes enter the fight, if you're just jumping from platform to platform like I am in this clip here, you're essentially able to prioritize things like the Arachnotron, the Revenant, and even go up top and take care of the carcasses that spawns. Pretend the floor is lava, and whenever a Whiplash or a Hell Knight ends up on the same platform as you, get the hell out of there. Ice bomb groups of fodder demon or hit them with a frag grenade and just stay on the move. You should be alright if you're pacing yourself very well and just don't panic. When the fight's over, a Cyber Mancubis is going to pop up from the ground here. Again, I like to use the overdrive power up just to kind of fuck with him, and then I basically circle around the pillars and take care of him relatively quickly. After this, you're going to come into the purple Goose section. You're just going to skip all the demons altogether, and then in the next section you can also skip all the demons if you run like crazy, or they're all fodder demons. You can hit them with flame belches and just deal with them with grenades, or tear them apart with the chain gun. It's completely up to you. Just be aware when you make it all the way towards the end, there is going to be a Cacodemon that spawns in front of the door that you need to get to, so do not let him catch you off guard, because it could be a wrap if he does. After the next cutscene of destroying these roided out tentacles, you're going to be locked in this hallway with two Hell Knights. If you're quick enough, you can take care of them one-on-one with a simple lock-on burst from the rocket launcher, or you can ice bomb one of them, frag one of them for falter. Again, right now, your imagination is the limit. Just beware, in the next room, you're going to be dealing with a Dread Knight, and sometimes he's already at the entrance and might swipe at you, so don't let him catch you off guard. And now we made it to the last leg of the mission. We're going to be put inside a parking garage with an Arachnotron on the left, a Pinky on the right, a Macubus in the back left-hand corner, and a bunch of fodder demon. You'll notice that as soon as I came in, I turned around that corner, fired a cue ball at the Arachnotron, immediately getting rid of it, dealt with the Pinky, and then immediately shifted my attention over to the Macubus. I took a little bit of damage, so I came over here for the power-up for extra health and armor, shifted my attention to the Macubus, and then immediately dealt with the carcass. Took care of the fodder demon, hit him with the flame belch, try to get all of my armor back as much as I could, and then head downstairs to deal with a Macubus, two Whiplashes, a carcass, and there's a cue ball you can use to your advantage if you wanted to. What I did was immediately fired at the Mancubus, froze him, dealt with the carcass because he was already starting to be a little bit of trouble, then headed to the back of the parking garage to have everything kind of funnel towards me yet again. There's also some extra health in this area. If there's still some fodder demon, hit them with flame belch, meat hook, chainsaw them if need be. Take this time to get your resources back. There's also a Praetor Suit point that you can pick up before leaving. Now in this next area, I completely bypass it. I never fight anything. I just run up on this helicopter, meat hook whatever I can, and then try to get as far as I possibly can. Utilize my dash and just try to make this area as least troubling as possible. That's it. You basically beat the level. You just gotta one up the Marauder in this final fight. And I mean, come on, by this time you gotta know how to fight the Marauder, especially on console. It's super shotgun ballista weapon combination. You can also falter him with a well-timed grenade or even a remote detonation from the rocket launcher. But if you don't want to get fancy, then I recommend just super shotgun ballista weapon combination. You can utilize the fodder demons in the arena to help you move faster. If you have the blood fueled rune, you can get them into glory kill or chainsaw them, and that'll give you a nice speed boost to kind of reposition. But there you guys have it, how to beat Arc Complex on Ultra Nightmare. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. How do you approach these fights? Or if you're still struggling or have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to share all that stuff down below. I try to be as active down in the comment section with you guys as much as I possibly can. If you made it this far, congrats. That was a long ass video. Props to you. If you made it this far, I don't know, write down COD sucks ass. I'm not gonna put that as title. It's just COD sucks ass. Speaking of COD, if you guys haven't joined the Discord yet, link to that is down in the description and probably gonna be in a pinned comment. We've been growing incredibly fast. Everyone's been active. We have a channel dedicated to Doom. We have a channel dedicated to Call of Duty, which has been toxic as fuck. We have a channel dedicated to Halo. There's all kinds of opportunities to meet some wonderful people, get into some fights. No, I'm kidding. But stop by. See what it's all about. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully this did help you guys out. Special thank you to everyone that's joined the Discord. If you guys have any recommendations on videos or anything like that, feel free to post that below. And finally, I know it's a long ass outro. Follow me on Twitch, as I'm going to be streaming regularly on Twitch from now on. Until next time, my friends. See y'all later.